What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one I want to talk about something very important that's going on with the markets, to talk about Nvidia's earnings and things like that. I also want to give you guys a very important warning about how on earth I'd be going about this. Before I say anything about this, though, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks plus a $50 cash reward. The offer ends in 8 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about Nvidia. How is this thing looking so far? So Nvidia is on a nice uptrend, forming this potential like mini cup and handle, and this thing is trying to push up very, very nicely, testing this resistance right here. In my morning video, I talked about how Nvidia was kind of range bound between the support down here, this demand zone, the supply zone right about here. I told you, for this thing to move in a big direction, we have to watch which way this thing ends up breaking it. It came down as soon as we opened, and this was a liquidity grab. So they ended up buying calls, and they ended up buying Nvidia down here as soon as we opened, because they're going to push this thing right back up. And they pushed it up after the PMI report came out and all the data dropped. And this thing is still holding up nicely, testing 470. Now, here's the thing about this. Just to be honest with you, I know this is obvious to some people, but let's be real. Nvidia's earnings is coming out after the market closes. Okay, options and the premiums are very expensive for the stock because IV is going up. Implied volatility is high, and we're seeing lots of hype. Most people have calls on Nvidia. They're betting on the same thing to happen again, a crazy gap up for them to make tons of money. And I'd be very careful because you never know what could happen on earnings like this. Now, I also want to warn everyone that there could be a big IV crush happening, meaning the implied volatility drops, which hurts the premiums. And with that happening, even if you catch the right direction, you need a big move to make money on this. I think that's going to most likely be the case. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very, very careful because of the trickery. Now, I personally want to mention that the whole market, the entire stock market, is going to be dictated by Nvidia. It is going to cause the market to either pump or drop hard tomorrow, most likely. Okay. And when this happens, we don't know how on earth it's going to move the market. We don't know which direction it's going to be in. So it doesn't really make that much sense, okay, for me to be holding too many Tesla calls, too many SPY calls, too many long positions. It does not make too much sense because you never know what's going to happen. So for that reason, I actually exited most of my options. I'm just holding cash primarily. I'm just going to wait on my options accounts, just going to wait on the sidelines and wait and see what this thing does. That's the best strategy that I'm really taking. I may hold a few positions here and there, just with money I'm willing to lose. And I have friends who are great traders who are buying Nvidia calls. Other ones are buying Nvidia puts, right? So, it could go either way. They're willing to gamble and use some money that they're willing to lose. That's okay. And you could do the same thing if you want. That's completely fine. But just know, buying anything on Nvidia and holding it overnight is low-key a gamble. It's like a gamble. You don't know what it's going to do. Uh, it's very, very risky. It could be very tricky. And I want everyone to just be careful. Now, there are basically like 4 possibilities, either like a small move up or a big move up or a small move down and a big move down. And I just want to warn you all that because so many investors are expecting a massive move, what if they give us just like a smaller move than expected? Because we're expecting a 20% move in one direction. What if it's just like a 5% move or like a 4% move? That could also happen. So you never know what's about to happen with the stock. We don't know if it's going to gap up and push into the 500s or if it's going to gap down and tank all the way down to like the lower 400s. We don't know if it's going to be a small move and only like open at like 460 all the way down here, like 450, or if it ends up pumping to about like 475. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? So that's the reason why I'm not really holding too many positions. Anyways, looking at stocks like Tesla, I'm just going to be kind of quick with this as well. Tesla's holding up nicely, pushed above 238. So we had this channel right here. I told you if you want to be bullish on Tesla, we have to break above this channel. If we rejected, this thing could have come, down quite a bit from a technical standpoint. But we broke above the channel as Apple has pumped the markets alongside Nvidia, and this thing's trying to push up. Now we're holding above 238. If we keep going, right, we have this imbalance up here around this 240 area. Quite nice from Tesla. But here's the thing. It's just a temporary move because we don't know what's going to happen. Nvidia could sink Tesla tomorrow, and Tesla could come tanking all the way down below 230. It could get a big rug pull tomorrow, or it could just keep going and keep pushing above 242 into like the 245s. It all depends on Nvidia, so we don't know what's going to happen, so be very careful trading this. To add on to this, let's now talk about like SPY, just a couple of others very, very quickly. On SPY, it's pushing towards 444. That's going to be major resistance. We have a nice accumulation structure right here that developed on it, right? It looks very, very nice with the inverse head and shoulders. But the problem is, there's a problem. We don't know if this thing is going to break 444 and hold above it or get up to like 446, or if it ends up rejecting between 444 and 446 for a huge rug pull tomorrow. We don't know. Okay, Nvidia could cause anything. Nvidia may cause this thing to just continue pushing to fill this gap to like 450, or Nvidia could cause this thing to just get a huge rug pull. Okay, going into tomorrow below 440, back to 438 or lower. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Technicals are not everything. Do not solely trust technicals. They're not going to be everything overnight. They look more bullish, but they're not a guarantee. Nvidia is risky. That's the reason why I'm not really holding too many positions right now. So I just want to warn you, be very careful. You never know what's going to happen. And do what you have to do, manage your own risks. And if you believe the market is still bullish, then do what you want to do, but just be careful. The QQQ is approaching this gap right here to fill the gap at 371. If it breaks this, could this thing continue going to like 375 or so? It's a possibility. Or will Nvidia cause this thing to get a huge rug pull and come all the way back down below 360? That could happen too, right? Because we're approaching some tough resistance. We're approaching the area where the QQQ got a rejection in the past, around this like 371-ish area. So who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you all. I don't know. I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to just manage risks, and I'm just going to be patient. We're going to see what happens with Nvidia, and who knows which way the market's going to go. Because I don't know, I'm not going to plan on risking too much money. Only small sums of money I'm willing to lose. And my interpretation of a small sum may be very different for somebody else, right? So manage risks, be careful, non-financial advice, by the way, and just know, anything could happen with Nvidia, but be ready for it. And it's going to be very, very massive. Finally, for Aapl stock, let me just mention that Aapl got a huge, huge, huge push up today. Very, very nice looking inverse head and shoulders and cup and handle. But here's the thing. Apple's approaching this resistance right here at 181.5-ish. It got rejected here the last time it hit this level. It came all the way down within 1 day to 177. So will Aapl repeat history and get a big rejection at this resistance and come all the way back down to this imbalance in the 177s, if not 176s or lower? Will Nvidia cause Aapl to get a rug pull? Or is Aapl going to keep going and continue to push to much higher levels, like above like 182.5, 183? I don't know. I don't know what Nvidia is going to cause. I don't know what earnings are going to bring us. So be very careful in playing this if you're trying to hold anything for Aapl. And it could go either way. So do what you have to do. We have a lot of gaps down here on Aapl, though. So that is like one small red flag. But I'm always open-minded to anything, and we will just have to wait and see at this point. So that's the reason why I'm being very careful, and I hope that this video was helpful. I hope this warning helped a lot of people out there. Holding anything on Nvidia overnight is low-key a gamble, so do not risk money you cannot afford to lose. Non-financial advice, and be very careful. I really care about my audience. I want the best for everyone, and I want you all to just be very, very mindful of what's about to happen. Okay? So a big move may be coming for the markets. We will see by tomorrow what happens. We will see Nvidia's earnings. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.